I've been scrolling through these parenting forums for hours, but nothing matches what I'm seeing. My little girl is 5. She's always been a quiet kid, the kind who plays with her dolls for hours without a peep. But the last week, it's like she's got a secret friend no one else can see. Started small. I'd hear her giggling in her room after bedtime. I'd peek in, and she'd be sitting on the floor, staring at the wall, whispering, "Stop that, Daddy. It tickles." I'd ask who she was talking to, and she'd just smile and say, "My other daddy." I laughed it off at first. Kids have imaginations, right? But I'm her dad, the only one she's got. Last night it got weirder. She came downstairs during dinner, her eyes wide like she'd seen a ghost. She tugged at my sleeve and said, "Daddy says you forgot to lock the back door again." We live in a quiet suburb. No one's been near our house. But I checked. The door was unlocked. I swear I locked it that morning. I sat her down after, tried to play it cool. "Who's this daddy you're talking about?" She tilted her head, like I was the crazy one. "The one who lives in the shadows. He watches us sleep." Her voice was so matter-of-fact, like she was telling me the sky is blue. I tucked her in extra tight that night, left the hall light on. But sleep didn't come easy for me. Every creak in the house sounded like footsteps. Am I overreacting? Probably. But something feels wrong, like eyes on the back of my neck. Posted on October 15th, 2025. 2 days since I last tried to shake this off, and it's not stopping. If anything, it's getting louder. She won't stop calling him Daddy. Yesterday morning, I found her in the kitchen at dawn, standing on a chair, reaching for the top cabinet, the one where I keep the good knives. "What are you doing, sweetie?" I asked, heart pounding as I lifted her down. "Daddy told me to get the sharp one, for the game tonight." Her little hands were sticky, like she'd been playing with something wet. There was red on the counter, ketchup, I told myself, from breakfast. But we hadn't eaten yet. I locked that cabinet, triple-checked. And the game? She wouldn't say more. Just hummed a tune I didn't recognize, something low and off-key, like wind through cracked bones. Work was a blur. I called in sick, spent the day watching her. She drew pictures, page after page of stick figures. One was me tall with a smile. Next to it, her holding hands with a shadow man. Taller than me with no face, just empty white where eyes should be. "That's Daddy," she said when I asked. "He says you're not as fun." By evening, the whispers started. Not hers, hers are giggles now like they're playing, but from the walls. Faint at first like radio static. I pressed my ear to the plaster in her room. Words, garbled. "Come closer." I yanked back, told myself it was the neighbor's TV. But our walls are thick. No sound bleeds through. Tonight, I moved her mattress into my room. She fought it, said Daddy doesn't like sharing. As she drifted off, clutching her doll, I heard it again. From the closet door, cracked open an inch. A chuckle. Deep. Not mine. I'm typing this with one eye on the dark. The house feels heavier, like it's holding its breath. Posted on October 17th, 2025. Can't eat. Can't think straight. Woke up this morning to scratches on my arm. 3 lines, deep enough to bead blood. Like claws. She was asleep next to me, peaceful as an angel. But the doll? It was on the floor, head twisted backward. I hid the scratches under my sleeve. Dropped her at preschool, told the teacher she's been having nightmares. She nodded, but her eyes lingered, like she knew. Picked her up early. She ran to me, all smiles. "Daddy says hi." My stomach dropped. "Which daddy?" Dumb question. She pointed at nothing. "The tall one. He drew you a picture." In her backpack, a folded paper. Not her drawing. Crayon lines, shaky. A house, our house. Windows blacked out. And on the porch, 2 figures. One small, one huge. The huge one had hands like branches, reaching down. Under it, in wobbly letters, "Playtime." I burned it in the sink. The smoke smelled wrong, like wet earth and something rotten. She watched, unblinking. "He'll draw another. He always does." Afternoon turned to nightmare. She wanted to play hide and seek. Insisted. "Daddy's hiding first." I counted to 10 in the living room, heart hammering. Called her name. Silence. Then, from upstairs, "Found you." She wasn't upstairs. I searched every closet, under beds. Panic clawed my throat. Finally, the basement door, always locked. Ajar. Her giggle echoed up the stairs. I flew down, flashlight shaking. She sat in the corner, knees to chest, staring at the bare bulb swing. "Engineer overhead." "Who's with you?" I whispered. The air was cold, thick with dust. She pointed to the wall. A shadow stretched long, not from the light. It moved, flickered, like a man waving. We ran upstairs. I bolted the door, held her until she slept. But now, in the quiet, I see them. Marks on the walls. Faint scratches forming letters.
DADDY.
They weren't there before. Someone or something is marking territory. And it's in my home. Posted on October 19, 2025. Last night broke me. I recorded it. Played it back a dozen times. It's real. Not my imagination. She woke at midnight, thrashing. Daddy! Daddy's here. I bolted upright, grabbed her. She wasn't scared, excited. Like Christmas morning. Listen, she said, cupping my ear. First nothing. Then a rustle. From under the bed. Low, gravelly. She's mine now. A man's voice. Deep like stones grinding. I froze. Spoke again. Let her come play. Or I'll take you both. I yanked the covers back. Empty space. Dust bunnies and a single sock. But the voice lingered, echoing in my skull. She clapped. See? He talks funny. I barricaded the door with the dresser. Slept in the chair. Knife from the kitchen under the cushion. Dawn came slow. She ate cereal like nothing happened. I watched her mouth move, waiting for lies. But kids don't lie like that, do they? Called a friend today. Old college buddy, the shrink type. Told him bits. No details. Just imaginary friend. He said it's normal. Phases. Talk to her about it. Draw boundaries. Boundaries. Like I can draw a line around a ghost. Evening brought rain. Hard sheets against the windows. She drew again. This time, the shadow daddy held a key. For the door, she said. Which door? The basement? The front? I checked them all. Locked tight. But as thunder rolled, I heard the key turn. Not in a lock in my head. Click. And the voice clearer now. Open up. It's time. I smashed the phone recording. Didn't want proof anymore. Proof means it's real. Posted on October 20th, 2025. Today's the worst. The date on my screen mocks me. October 21st, 2025. One more day, and I don't know if I'll make it to tomorrow. Rained all night. Woke to puddles in the yard. And prints. Big ones. Leading from the woods behind the house straight to our back door. Bare feet, splayed toes. Not mine. Not human, maybe. Too long, too deep, like something heavy dragged itself. She saw me staring out the window. Daddy came to visit. He left those for you. Her eyes sparkled like it was a gift. I grabbed her shoulders. Too hard, I know. Tell me what he looks like. Exactly. She squirmed, but I held on. Tall. Smells like rain and dirt. Wears a coat made of leaves. Says he misses me. Misses her? She's never mentioned another father. Her mother's gone, car crash when she was a baby. No one else. But the coat. I remembered something. A story her grandma told once, half joking. Old Wood's Tale. The leaf man comes for lost kids. Whispers their names. Dresses in what falls from the trees. Coincidence. Had to be. I shook it off. Pulled her inside. Locked the door tight. We stayed in all day. Board games on the living room floor. Cartoons blaring from the TV. I forced smiles, made silly voices for the characters. Anything to keep her eyes on me, not drifting to the windows. But she kept glancing out, like she was waiting for a ride that was late. At dusk, the power flickered. Once, twice, then out, plunging the room into gray twilight. Candles only. I lit them quick, shadows jumping like they had minds of their own. She stood up slow, walked to the back door without a word. He's calling, she said, her small hand on the knob. I followed, pulse roaring in my ears. The knob turned easy, despite the deadbolt I checked an hour before. Outside, wind howled through the trees, bending branches like fingers waving hello. And there, in the mud, fresh prints. Not the old ones. These circled the yard, looping closer to the steps, leading away into the dark like an invitation. I slammed the door shut, leaned my weight against it. She laughed. A high, tinkling sound that cut through the howl. Silly. He just wants to play tag. Hours later, the lights buzzed back on, harsh and unforgiving. But with them came the voice. From the vents this time, slithering up like smoke. Tag, you're it. Then footsteps. Overhead. In the attic we never use. Dust and boxes and spiderwebs. I grabbed the flashlight, climbed the pull-down stairs, wood creaking under my weight. Beam shaking in my hand, I swept it across the rafters. Dust motes swirled in the air like tiny ghosts. And there a shape. hunched in the far corner, bulkier than the boxes around it. Coat of leaves, dripping wet from the rain outside, rustling soft as it shifted. It turned toward the light. No face, just hollows where eyes should be, pulling at the beam, swallowing it whole. A hand lifted, long fingers, tipped with something sharp. Waved, slow and deliberate. I screamed. The ladder rung slipped under my foot. I fell, hitting the floor hard, breath knocked out. Scrambled up, slammed the attic hatch shut, dragged the heavy chair from the hall to block it. Locked from below. She's asleep now, or pretending, curled under the covers in my bed. But I hear her breathing change, slow and even, then hitch, like she's whispering back to something in the dark. The house settles around us, but it's not peaceful. It's waiting. Every tick of the clock stretches longer. Every draft from the vents carries a hint of wet earth. I sit here, back to the wall, watching the door handle for any twitch. The knife's on the nightstand now, blade catching the moonlight. But what good is steel against shadows that walk? I keep thinking about those prints. How they dragged, heavy and purposeful. Like whatever made them wasn't in a hurry. It had all night, all week, maybe longer. And her words echo. He misses me. What if it's not missing? What if it's claiming? Posted on October 21st, 2025. Slept in snatches after that. Dreams of leaves choking my throat. Roots wrapping my ankles. Pulling me down into soft, black soil. Woke sweating, the sheets tangled like restraints. She was humming that tune again when I stumbled to the kitchen, the off-key melody bouncing off the tiles. The basement door was open. Wide open, a black maw at the end of the hall. Panic hit like ice water. I called her name, voice cracking, searched room by room. Living room, bathroom, her old bedroom, empty. The hum grew fainter, drawing me down. Flashlight in one hand, the other white-knuckled on the railing. I descended. Steps slick, not with water, but something thicker, sticking to my shoes. At the bottom, she sat cross-legged in the center of the concrete floor, surrounded by a pile of things. Twigs twisted into shapes, tied with strands of blonde hair, her hair, fresh cut from the ends. Stones arranged in a crude circle, glinting under the bulb. And in the middle, a photo. Old, faded at the edges. Me, younger, holding a bundled baby in a hospital blanket. But the baby's eyes in the picture, staring out black, like pits dug too deep. Daddy drew it, she said, not looking up, her fingers tracing the photo's border. From memory. Memory? That photo's buried in a box in the garage, taped shut since the crash, sealed away with the grief. How did it get here? I tore it from her hands, ripped it to shreds, paper fluttering like dead leaves. She cried then, real tears, hot and messy, streaking her cheeks. You hurt him. Now he'll hurt you back. We fled upstairs, her clinging to my neck, sobs shaking her small body. I shoved chairs against the basement door, piled books on top for good measure. But the house didn't feel barricaded. It felt smaller, walls pressing in, floorboards groaning like they were alive and unhappy about the weight of secrets. Night fell fast, sun swallowed by clouds that hung low and bruised. She wanted a story before bed, curled in my lap on the couch. I made one up on the spot, about a brave dad and his girl, facing down monsters in the woods with nothing but a flashlight and a song. Halfway through, her face went blank, eyes glazing like fogged glass. That's not how it ends, she said, voice dipping low. Not her soft lilt, but something rougher, edged with gravel. I end it. I dropped the book, pages splaying open on the floor, backed away until my heels hit the wall. She know it, stood up slow, walked to me on bare feet that didn't make a sound. Small hand landed on my knee, cold as river stones. Play with us, Daddy. Or watch. Then the footsteps started. Not from one place, from everywhere. Thud from the attic, scrape along the hallway walls, crunch like breaking twigs from the yard outside. Circling the house, tightening like a noose. The air thickened, smelling of damp soil and something sharper, like blood under leaves. I grabbed the knife from the kitchen drawer, blade trembling in my grip. Hid it under the couch cushion as she climbed back into my lap. All innocence again. Thumb in her mouth. She's back to normal now, or close enough, singing made-up lullabies about trees that hug too tight. But her shadow on the wall stretches wrong when the lamp hits it just so. Two heads in the silhouette. One small and round. One tall and jagged. The voice laughs sometimes, soft and close, right in my ear. Soon, it fades, but the echo lingers, burrowing into my thoughts. I wonder if it's already inside, waiting for the right moment to push. Posted on October 22nd, 2025. Mirrors are traitors now. Brushed my teeth this morning, foam bitter on my tongue, and glanced up. My reflection stared back, but it blinked slow. Once I stopped, it kept going, lids heavy, like it was tired of pretending. I smashed the glass with my fist, shards raining into the sink, blood mixing with toothpaste pink. She heard the crash, padded in barefoot. Daddy says mirrors lie. They show what could be. Her words stuck like burrs. What could be? Me broken and hollow-eyed? Or worse, him wearing my skin? She's obsessed now, drawing him on everything. Walls with the marker I swore I hid in the junk drawer. Tall stick figure, arms like branches clawing the sky, always reaching for the smaller one beside it. He says you're next, she told me over lunch, her sandwich untouched, crusts curling like fingers. For forgetting. Forgetting what? I racked my brain until it ached. The crash that took her mom, nights I worked late and came home to empty cribs, her first steps I missed because the phone rang. Guilt twisted in my gut like a knife turning slow. Was that the crack he slipped through? Afternoon, desperate for normal, we baked cookies. Flour dusted the counters white as bone dust. Oven humming warm. She licked dough off her fingers, giggling at the mess. Then paused, spoon midway to her mouth. Daddy likes them raw. With salt. Salt? We don't keep salt near the baking stuff. But the shaker sat out on the counter. Grains scattered like tiny bleached bones across the wood. Evening brought fog, thick and greedy, rolling in from the woods like it had a grudge. It swallowed the streetlights one by one, turning the windows to blank stares. I checked every door, every latch, every pane of glass, sealed tight as a tomb. But drafts snuck through anyway, cold fingers brushing my neck, carrying whispers too faint to catch. She played alone in the living room while I paced the kitchen, phone in hand, thumb hovering over emergency numbers. I listened at the doorway, ear cocked. Giggles at first, light and free. Then silence, heavy as wet cloth. Then, push harder, Daddy. Make it break. A crash shattered the quiet. I burst in, heart slamming ribs. The big mirror over the mantel lay in jagged pieces, silver backing peeled back like flayed skin. Her doll sat amid the wreck, limbs torn, stuffing spilling white, and smeared across the largest shard, in something dark and sticky. Not jam, too thick, too metallic smelling. Letters. Annie. I cleaned it up on hands and knees, glass biting my palms, blood welling warm. She watched from the couch, legs swinging. Now you're marked too. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. Sleep? A joke. Every shadow in the room shifts when I look away, edges blurring into shapes that almost look like hands. Every breath I take echoes back wrong, like the house is inhaling with me. The voice is constant now, a murmur in my ears no matter how loud I turn up the white noise app. Come down. Play in the dark. The basement calls louder each hour, a pull low in my belly like hunger. I feel the stairs under my feet even when I'm upstairs, wood waiting to creak. Posted on October 23rd, 2025. Can't fight the pull anymore. It's in the walls, the floor joists, the very air we breathe. The house belongs to him now. I feel it in the way the doors stick, like they're reluctant to let us out. Morning came gray and reluctant. She wouldn't eat, pushed her plate away with a pout. Daddy fed me dreams last night, sweet ones with no waking up. Her skin's gone pale, almost translucent, blue veins threading under her eyes like rivers on a map. She's fading, bit by bit, like ink bleeding into water. I tried to leave, packed a duffel with clothes, her favorite blanket, snacks, essentials crammed in haste. Her hand in mine, small and clammy. We stepped toward the front door, but it stuck, handle slick under my palm, frame warped like the wood had swollen overnight. I yanked harder, shoulder to the panel, but wind pushed back from outside, a gust that smelled of rot and rain. She tugged free, slipped from my grip like smoke. He's waiting, she called, bolting not out the door but toward the back, toward the yard and the woods beyond. I chased, feet slipping on the threshold, branches whipping my face as I plunged after her. Leaves crunched underfoot, wet and yielding, the fog closing around us like a fist.